I love you with my heart, with my soul, with every fibre of my entire being. How are you feeling right now, beautiful soul? So, who will win the spiritual war? How will it play out? Who will ascend? And the different levels of consciousness and sovereignty that are involved in this spiritual war. Now, you could call this spiritual war a spiritual game, because we are human beings playing a game, the game of life. But the game of life goes way beyond this physical reality. But we are physical beings here on Earth, so we've got to play the game in this physical reality. Well, some of us do anyway. Some of us play this game here in this physical reality. Some of us play it in the multidimensional fields. Some of us play it in both. Now, whether it's a war, whether it's a game, whichever kind of way you want to frame it, it really doesn't bother me. It's entirely up to you. What is important is that both games and wars have strategies. Okay? There are strategic plays in place. Now, depending on your level of consciousness, is going to really determine what part of this game you play, whether you're aware of it or not, and what choices you make within this game that's playing out and unfolding right now on planet Earth. The first thing that we've got to kind of understand or understand is that games are supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to be so serious. Wars, on the other hand, they're a little bit more serious. But what we can do is we can take a step back outside of our physical bodies, look from a higher perspective, down into ourselves, or at ourselves, having this human experience. Realize war, game, however you want to frame it, and actually see it as a little bit of fun. Because our souls are here on these physical bodies for a very short period of time, but Earth really is one of the best training grounds in the universe. It's why we came here. Not many spirit souls, lights choose to come here. It's a crazy old place, Earth. And there are some souls that keep coming back here time and time again because they're addicted to the mayhem and the chaos in this reality. But that's kind of a different story for another day. Now, let's look at this spiritual game that's unfolding right now on planet Earth in terms of how a war would play out. Okay? Now, at the front line, you've got the infantry. You've got those soldiers on the front line, knives, guns, weapons. They're battling with each other, okay? They're going hammer and tong. They're in the front line. There's shootouts. Whatever's going on. Bombs are going off. People are dying. People are killing other people, okay? That part of the war is necessary. Very, very necessary. Now, behind the soldiers on the front line, you have the tactical, the technicians, you have communications, you have the generals in the middle that are taking orders from the people that are controlling the war way, way, way away from the playing fields and feeding those orders into the infantry at the front. Number one, it's going to give them direction, which way they should battle, when they should advance, when they should pull back. Hopefully it's going to save some lives and hopefully take the enemy out in a more efficient fashion. These people are integral to the war. Then you've got the people back at base, which may be in another country or thousands of miles away from the actual battlefield. These are the people that are overseeing the war. They're giving the generals the orders to feed down into the infantry, the soldiers on the front line. Now, all three of these components to the war are mission critical. Absolutely mission critical. Now, if you look at the spiritual war that is unfolding on planet Earth right now, this great big pantomime that's been going on for thousands of years and is really unfolding at a crazy rate in our faces right now, you have a mirror image taking place. You have the infantry, the frontline soldiers. These are the men and women, the human beings that are going to battle in the courthouses. They're battling taxes, they're battling the agents of the state, they're on the grounds protesting, they're out there, they're in the faces of policemen and women, doctors, soldiers, and what they're doing is they're causing problems for the system at a grassroots level. Now, some of these people, they're going to go to court, they're going to contest, and they're going to win as free men and women, as sovereign beings. Some of these men and women, they're going to go to court and they're going to lose. They get fined or put in prison. There may be some of these men and women that go to protests and get hit with tear gas or rubber bullets and get injured. Maybe some get hit with real bullets and they die. All of this part of this spiritual war is necessary. Now, in the middle, you have men and women. They're like the technicians, they're the communications experts, they're the generals, and what they're doing is they're getting information about whether it's this crazy old virus that we all know the name of, whether it's to do with our good mate Billy G, whether it's 5G or whatever it is. Different components of this spiritual war that's taking place, different feeds of information, whether it's SRA, satanic ritual abuse, whether it's stuff that's happening in different countries to different groups of people, whether it's a policeman murdering a black man or a white man with their knee on the back of their neck in broad daylight for supposedly a forged check, which wasn't even a forged check. There's these generals getting all of this information and feeding out into the public arena, and what they're doing is they're waking up the masses. They're waking up the infantry, and then more and more infantry, they pick up their swords and they go to war and fight intelligently, not like that or like that, but with their minds and their hearts intelligently, with knowledge and with wisdom in a peaceful fashion. That you have these people, that are feeding the information, that are collecting the information, that are sharing the information, because the soldiers on the front line, they're too busy embroiled in this 3D reality. Some of them are still way too asleep, but the generals in the middle feed them the information to wake them up, so there's more infantry. And with the knowledge and the wisdom that the generals and the communications experts feed the people on the front line, they can make better decisions when they go to court, when they stand up for their freedoms as sovereign beings. They make better decisions. And a lot more of them are able to stand in their truth and override the system which tries to manipulate and control us. Now, at the back, you have the people that are controlling the war. Now, in the spiritual war, these are the grid workers. These are the space holders. These are the frequency manipulators. These are the men and women that understand the geometrical, mathematical equations that make up the cosmic fabric. They're able to change timelines. They're able to go into past, future timelines and shift things around. They're able to set up grids and hold space for this whole game to play out. And these men and women work very closely with our galactic sisters and brothers. Now, all components of this spiritual game, this spiritual war, are mission critical. The people that are holding the space, changing the timelines, running the grids, powering the grids, working with Mother Earth's dragon lines and ley lines, energy centers around the planet, they're no more important than the people on the front line. Now, where people are at in this spiritual game, this spiritual war, all depends on their level of consciousness and their level of choice. Because some people are aware and understand how to hold space, understand how to shift grids, timelines, realities, but they still like to dip down and share information. And you may even get some of these men and women that are addicted to the chaos and the trauma and the mayhem of the 3D reality, and they like to be down on the front line with their sword battling. Now, Every single human being on planet Earth right now has a choice. And that choice is to ascend. That choice is to move into 5D whilst you're still in this physical body on this Earth right now. Everybody has that choice. But your levels of consciousness are going to determine that. And a lot of the soldiers on the front line, they're not going to make 5D. They're going to stay in this reality, have this battle, win some, lose some, win some, lose some, but they're going to shake the whole system up, and they're going to make space for people with higher levels of consciousness to ascend up through this space. They're going to make the way, or pave the way, for Mother Earth to ascend. They're going to break down the system, and slowly but surely over time it's going to crumble and dissolve. The people in the middle, the generals, the communications experts, the information gatherers, the information sharers, some of those are going to raise their levels of consciousness and ascend, and some of them are going to stay in this 3D reality. Now, soon on planet Earth, the frequency is going to be so high that it can only hold that of joy, peace, love, divinity, compassion, oneness, unity, freedom. And those with high levels of consciousness are going to ascend. Some of those people that aren't willing to do the inner work and go into themselves to raise their levels of consciousness, they're going to stay in that lower vibrational playing field. And Earth's going to split into two timelines. There's going to be the one where people ascend and the one where people stay in this 3D space. That's just the way that it is. But all of us are so important in this whole galactic puzzle. Earth herself is the heart chakra of our galaxy. It's a storehouse of knowledge and wisdom. It's a living library, and that's why there's so much attention for this planet. It's why there's been so many wars and battles over this planet by the darker forces trying to control humanity and enslave humanity. They don't want us to wake up, realize our super conscious powers, and claim our freedoms and claim back our beloved Mother Gaia, Mother Earth. They don't want that, so they manipulate, they corrupt. But levels of consciousness are rising so much on the planet right now that people are waking up so fast. But we still need those people on the front line. We still need the generals, and we still need the grid holders, the space holders, the matrix busters. We need all of it, all of these components. Now, wherever you're at on this playing field, it's really important that you respect yourself. It's really important that you respect everyone else. And it's really important that there's zero judgment. It really is a game. It really is a game. And the more fun we have with this game, the easier it's going to be to win the war. Because when you're in joy and high humor and laughter, your vibration increases 1,000,000-fold. And it's hard to knock you off your vibrational perch. So it's so important that we keep our vibration high. And we keep raising those levels of consciousness. And we support and honor the people that are on the front line. And make sure that our ego doesn't tip us into wanting to get involved. When I look at myself and my own position, I used to be on the front line. I was one of those soldiers. I've done my battles in court. I've done my battles in court as a free man, as a sovereign. I've been to court with cancer cases for the healing work that I do. I've done my battles on the front line. You know, I've been through council tax battles and various different battles many years ago. I've done all that stuff. And I've moved myself into a higher level of consciousness. Where I am right now, I do a lot of the grid work. I do a lot of space holding. I do a lot of timeline shifting. And sometimes I'll go down into the ranks of the general and I'll share information. And I'll kind of play both roles. But I understand this game in its entirety. Now, what's important is that you know, once you leave this planet, that you have a choice. Once you leave this planet, you have a choice of what's going to happen next. There's going to be beings that are going to try and railroad you through the pale golden door and syntax you back down into this reality so your light can come into another body and they can feed off of you again. That scenario is available. I am sweating, beautiful soul. It is such a hot day today, and I've got the window closed in this room. The lights are on. Man, it's hot. But I just really had to get this video out today. And I wanted to make it outside, but I didn't have time to go into nature today where it's going to be really quiet, and I needed quiet for this video because the information's so important. So anyway, you have these tiers, okay? None of them are above or below, but you have these spaces where different people are. And what is important is that you know where you are and you follow your own path. Now, when you leave this planet, as I was saying, you're going to try, there's going to be an option where beings are going to try and syntax you back down into this reality and recycle your soul, okay, to use your energy. There's going to be another option for those people that believe in Christ or Buddha or some god, some Hindu god, whatever it is, and they want to meet their friends and their family and their relatives. Those people are going to be given the choice to go into a quantum space where they can do that. But again, that's a con. That's a place you don't want to go to. That's trickery, baby. Okay? Because what's going to happen is you're going to go into this space that they create for you based on your belief systems, and again, they'll harvest your energy. Now you get another choice. And that choice is to have your light body cleansed. And this is the choice that every high vibrational soul with an expanded level of consciousness who has these levels of awareness will choose. You're going to go through a space where you're going to have your light body cleansed. Your soul will be separated from your light body. Your soul is going to be cleansed and your light body is going to be cleansed. It might take 10 years, it might take 100 years. And the issue is here, even once you leave your body, the soul is impatient and it doesn't want to go through that hell of a long process. So it decides, I'm going back down. Based on the information that these cunning, manipulative beings try and show you, which is a false life review, you make that decision to go back and kind of, make amends for all the negative things you did, because that's what they're going to show you in your life review. Now, once your light body is cleansed, which could take 100 years, 200 years, 50 years, I don't actually know, but it's not quick. Your soul is cleansed at the same time, and then your soul, once you've been through this cleansing process, your soul is brought back to your light body, and they show you the information in your soul. Your soul is like an information chamber. It's going to hold the information from your last incarnation and many other incarnations, and you're going to get a life review once your soul is brought back to your light body, and you're going to see the real life review. Okay, and then you're going to choose, where am I going next? Probably not back to Earth. You'll probably choose to go to a different planet. Maybe you'll go home to your extraterrestrial family. I don't know. That will be your choice. But it's all just a game and it's all just a play. But you have choices all the way through. Even if you're in this 3D reality and you're one of the soldiers on the front line, you still have a choice when you leave this physical body. It's going to be a lot harder for people on the front line because they're still kind of addicted to the chaos and the mayhem of the 3D space. And even in a 4D space, the beings here right now still have a hold over you. It's only when you move through the upper levels of 4D into 5D that they can't touch you. Okay? You become a completely different vibrational being. And your levels of awareness are so high that you can see the corruption and the manipulation. You can just step away from it. It doesn't mean that it's not there, but you just see it so clearly, and boom. And what happens when you move up through these vibrational spaces, levels, bands of frequency, whatever you want to call it, the old stuff starts to drop away. This 3D reality becomes non-existent. And this is what is important to also note, that the beings, not the beings, but the people, well, you could call them beings. We are beings, we're human beings, but the people that, are the space holders and the matrix busters and the people, the grid workers, okay, that are holding space for this whole play and this war and this game to unfold, these people will have a clear, conscious knowing of where they're going after this reality. And the people that are down on the front line, those people, those beings, they're the ones that are probably going to choose to come back down again, because they are addicted to this 3D space. But what we can do as the men and women that are operating this wall and holding space for this war to unfold, we can communicate with the generals, we can support the people on the front line, and we can encourage the generals to share more information. So we can put this information out there to wake people up. We can encourage them to do the inner work. We can encourage them to meditate, to exercise, to eat clean, to decalcify their pineal glands. We can encourage them to hug trees and get into nature so they can open their heart and wake themselves up. We can encourage them to do the work on their higher heart so they can get that cosmic energy flow coming down from the stars. Okay, we all have choices, but it's all about levels of consciousness and vibration and frequency. Okay, you're like a musical instrument, and you will play the tune that you're attuned to. If your instrument isn't in tune, you're not going to be able to play the tune of the universe. It's going to sound a little bit faulty, a little bit off. It's going to hurt your ears and your mind when that instrument's played. But if it's finely tuned, like a beautiful harp or piano, you're going to play the symphony, the harmonics of the universe, and you're going to raise your levels of consciousness. You get a choice in all matters, beautiful soul. So how this war unfolds is down to one human being and one human being only. In my case, this human being is me. In your case, this human being is you. And everybody has their sovereign responsibility. No one can make anyone else do anything, but we can just shine our beautiful lights and encourage everyone else to raise their vibration. It's that simple. What I do know, okay, is that you are one powerful, powerful, powerful being. And you have the freedom of choice. You have free will to make the choices that are going to elevate your soul, your consciousness, raise your levels of light body, so you can choose how to play out this human game, and so you can choose how to move on when you leave this reality. This is something else I want to quickly share with you as well. The other day, the police pulled me over, and they told me they were seizing my car. My insurance had run out, and I didn't even realise. And they said, we're seizing your car. Now, I had a choice. I could have stood and battled as a sovereign being and said, listen, I don't consent to this stuff. Now, what would have happened is I'd have ensued into a battle. You know, it could have got messy. I could have got arrested. Not that I'm bothered about being arrested. I actually don't really care if I get arrested. It doesn't bother me. And, I mean, it could have even turned into a physical battle, which I've had with the police many times in my life. Now, I was sat in the car with my girlfriend and I thought, you know what? It's a sunny day, Jerry. Why don't you just take your top off and have a nice stroll home? They can borrow your car for 12 hours and you can pick it up in the morning. And that's what I did. I didn't engage in their reality at all. I just flowed with it. There was no energy given to their reality at all. Now, the people that are on the front line, they would stand up for their sovereign rights and they would fight these coppers and they would wake these coppers up. And that is the role of the infantry. Now, you've got to choose where you're at. You could be infantry, a general, you could be a grid holder. It doesn't matter. We're all just as important as each other in this great grand game, this great pantomime, this play. You know, we're on a stage and we're all the characters. And all the characters are playing their parts perfectly. And you can always change the character that you are. Always remember that. You can slip out of one body and into another just by shifting your frequency. So you know what is really happening here on Earth as this spiritual war, this spiritual game unfolds. You understand this. You know what's going to happen when you leave this planet and the choices that you get. And if you want to, if you raise your levels of consciousness, soon, in the next year to 2 years, it's highly likely that you're going to ascend in your physical body. That's my plan. That's my aim. I'm going to stay in this body and I'm going to travel a little bit in it to some other planets. I'm going to go and see my Lyran sisters and brothers. Go and check out my sisters and brothers in the Andromedan galaxy. I'm going to pop off to Alpha Centauri for a bit because I've got some friends there, and I'm going to go as Jerry. I can't wait, baby. Anyway, you're amazing, okay? You truly, truly, truly are a phenomenal being. And I love you with my heart, my soul, with every fibre of my entire being. Wherever you are on the planet, hug tightly and never be the first to let go. Love fiercely and ferociously. And I'll see you again real soon. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Share it with your friends and family. If you're watching it on Facebook, Instagram, and other social platform, share it. Share it. Let's share these positive messages and let's wake up our sisters and brothers. We're a family. We're a tribe. United we stand. Divided we fall. I'll see you again real soon, beautiful soul. One love, one heart, one human family. Peace out.